I can't be messing around. I can't be messing
So I have to
around.
make all my Frederick Douglass jokes right now before it records.
Doug, wait, oh my God, you remember
Frederick Douglass?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
look at you.
That is.
You should just get black and white photos of yourself and hand them out at parties and go, by the way, I fucking helped free the slaves. Because Jesus, what is that thing on your face?
It's listen. What you see. Oh, and you're still in the military, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we're recording. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you send me the video, I got to make this for part of my show. Okay. I'm gonna.
Now,
you
have a show?
Yes, sir. Oh,
all right.
yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I do what's called the Matt Ellipsis Show. My stage name is Matt Ellipsis, and what I'm grateful for is that
well,
I'm grateful for you.
Steam power. Look at you. That is 1880s if I've ever seen it.
This Mr. Reiman, sir, is the enjoyment.
That's like a couple of days, right? Just a couple of days.
I wish I could go back then. I am so happy. You have no idea. I've been shaving since I was 17 years old. Okay. And I've had to do like you and eventually, whatever.
Yeah.
It felt so good when I got my paperwork that said you're retired. Man, I'm talking about it's just it feels so good. And my lady, my wife, she says that I need to, and I'm gonna hook it up because I'm waiting until I'm gonna do a photo shoot like from my website and everything like that. So I got my little outfits or whatever. So once I got the date of my photo shoot, then I'm gonna shape it up and make it all look.
Dude, you gotta get the high collar, the starch collar, and the black bow tie, and a little overexposed tintype.
I will work that out. You gotta send me an example. Send me a picture of an example. So not now, but I'm talking about down the road.
Google Frederick Douglass.
Oh no, I got his book. I got his book in my car. So if I got you know what? That's not a bad idea to make an album cover of me looking like Frederick Douglass with my little Frederick Douglass-ish. And according to Donald Trump, Frederick Douglass is doing some good stuff. People are finding out about him. Hands, right?
I heard he's doing some cool stuff.
Oh man, I am so happy to be talking to you.
Cool.
You, sir, are responsible for a lot of my success, whether you know it or not.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yep, I appreciate it. I mean, that time I was just talking to Jessica Kling. I don't know if you remember her.
Oh yeah.
I was just talking to her a couple of years ago.
How old is she? She's probably like a general too now, right?
No, she is almost a master sergeant. Almost.
Oh man.
Almost. We did an interview on my show. We captured the audio of it. I still haven't put it out yet, but when I get it done, I'll send it to you so you can hear it. We talked a little. One of the funny things about Kling. You're gone. Wait, Phil Reiman left the meeting. There we go. All right, you're back. Okay. One of the funny things about Jessica Kling was that when we were there, and I don't know if you were doing military justice when she got there.
Yeah.
But so you must remember this. This was one of her experiences. She said that Colonel Billick would call her and say, Kling, and she'd have to run into the office and do the reporting stuff, and then go get Captain Pullman. And so she'd have to run down. Did you ever remember that?
Yeah, because we used to be like, he treats her like she's his adjutant.
Right.
Like, where's my dry cleaning, Kling?
Yes, and you know what? That's another thing. She actually did. She only did it one time. Had to pick up his dry cleaning. So you remember that thing?
No, she actually did that?
We were talking about it. Now, I think Colonel Billick is retired, so we can't hold this against him, but I think it's intoxicating. I think it's intoxicating to be able to send me and Colonel Billick. We had a funny scenario. He sent me to the store, and I think he tested me. Okay, these are two different tests. He sent me. He gave me $100 bill to get something that literally I think he gave me a $50 bill for something that literally cost like $2.
Sure.
So I went to go get it, and I brought it back, and his change was in the bag, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was getting change." Oh, now I think he was testing me. I don't think he was, testing my honesty. I was just checking. So boom. So that was one. But the second one was more funny. He accidentally opened up my LES, thinking it was his, and he said, "I heard him in the office." I'm sitting at my desk. You remember where my desk was at compared to his? He was sitting his up. He said, "Oh," I said, "What's the matter, sir?" I walked in there. "What's the matter?" "Oh, wait a minute." "Oh," and he handed me my LES. He said, "I accidentally opened this up. I thought I did something wrong. Thought I got a pay cut." And I said, "Whoa, I didn't realize that my little $3,000 or $4,000 a month that I was making, that it was that traumatic." Because I looked on the pay chart, Colonel Billick was making at least $10,000 a month. That's what a colonel was making, at least $10,000 a month.
Yeah, plus BAH. And then
plus BAH.
Did he live in the hotel too?
He lived on post. He didn't do the hotel, as far as if I remember. But yeah, I want to say it was Captain Pullman told me about what was the other captain? The one that signed your name. Right. He said that Captain Harmon, he fought for something related to money stuff that everybody, I guess, eventually did get that was living in the hotel. Is that true? Because I don't remember. So everybody did get sort of, is it because the installation they lowered the amount people were supposed to get? Something like that?
I don't know the specific bit, but the idea, I think, was you're entitled to BAH if you are mobilized a certain amount, depending on where you are. And they were not paying us that. And they moved us off post. It wasn't really relevant, but it did then add weight because we were actually had exterior expenses, but those were paid by the government directly. Like it was a separate contract and we didn't have to worry about it.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it was more an error on the post commander deciding I can just move people off post, contract for housing, and not follow the pay regs. And when it went up through First Army, they're like, just pay the people, back pay them. You're not doing it right. You can't do it that way. This is the same commander that later got in trouble for, wearing his uniform to a political rally and stuff.
I was there when Colonel when the Colonel Lind with his bushy eyelashes and ear.
Some sweet brows, sir. That's good. Reach out and touch it. Like, you gonna donate those eyebrows when they reach a certain length, right? For kids who need brows, kids who have alopecia of the eyebrow or something. He's a donor. He's a donor, right? I know you're raising those for charity, sir, because there's no reason you would have that other one.
And look, there's no regulation about the eyebrows. Right. You can there's a regulation about the haircut, but somebody got to do something.
You could have your whole forehead could be covered.
Straight up. Oh my God, they needed it. Man, but I credit you because you sat me down one day, because in that office in building 106, I had Colonel Billick, I had Colonel Wilson, who still reaches out to me today. So when I'm done with this, I'm probably gonna, if I make I want to send it to him so he see.
Are you a shareholder in some LLC that he's using as a tax act?
No, I didn't know. Is that what he does for a living?
He's like, he must have worked on his taxes like for 6 months. Like, what are you doing? I'm working on my taxes. What? Why? You ain't got no income. I can tell.
You talking about beyond all the money he was making at that time with the military?
Yeah.
Oh my God! But so between him, Colonel Billick, Chief Strandquist, and the others that were in the office, you sat me down and gave me the best lesson, and it was so truthful. I've learned it. You did this. This is what you did. You said, do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. You said, Matt, sit down. You used to call me Matt too. I think, you wouldn't call me. Everybody else would call, Matt, sit down. This is the theory of work. Okay? This is the theory of work. Now, at the top of this is Colonel Billick, right? That's your boss. Whatever he said, that's what everybody else is underneath that. And so you have to prioritize. And you explained it in a way, because I was in the middle of doing the dance of I was an E5 to E6. The first sergeant would not, for some reason, he postponed pinning my E6, because I made E6 as soon as I got there. When we got up to,
oh really?
You know what I'm saying? Yes, because I submitted it, and then it was like every 3 months there was a board, and so I submitted it. It didn't work for some reason because I didn't put the package together. But 3 months later, I got it, and the first sergeant, who was the chief paralegal before we all got mobilized, he actually postponed pinning me for like over a month and a half. So I'm walking around at E5 getting paid as E6 for like at least a month and some change. So he was messing with the power dynamic in the office for me, because whatever. So I was dealing with, everybody was bossing me around, which I didn't have a problem with because I'm a customer service. No problem. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No problem. No problem. No problem. No problem. Whatever. But it became too much. And I think you saw people were taking advantage of me. And that's one of the reasons why I have such an admiration for you. I felt that you should have walked, they should have field promoted you to major by the time you left there, because you were the hardest working there. The lowest rank, you were a lieutenant. I think you were, by the time you left there, you were like a 1LT. I
was still in LT, yeah.
You were a 2LT when we got there, when we got mobilized, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then you were 1LT by the time you were gone. In my mind, based on everything that happened, when you have a lawyer do what he did to you with you and the major, you gotta become a field major, okay? They just pin you. You need to skip the correct guy.
That's a great compliment.
I'm serious. And so when you taught me that served me from the time you taught it to me, and I implemented it all the way through the rest of my career, because I was able to. People would say to me, this is what people would say to me, because I'm Mr. Gullible. I'm Mr. Do what everybody tell me to do, right? This is how it was. So people would say to me, Matt, you need to get your priorities in order. And I would be working my civilian job, and I'd be working my military job. And I learned, when they say you need to get your priorities in order, what they really mean is you need to serve me.
Yes.
And you see what I'm saying? So I've learned when you taught me that, I applied that, because when you have your priorities in order, you want to take care of your family first, just logically. You know what I'm saying? So that and other things, I saw the way people treated you. You were so professional, sir. You were so professional. I watched your diplomacy. Oh my God, you were so diplomatic. I learned watching you, because I knew, because we were doing military justice together, I knew what you thought about certain things, right? You would be by yourself. You were just effing this and whatever you used to say, right? And then you would get into these meetings with people who were maybe 1 or 2 ranks above you, and you know that they were peddling BS, whatever they were saying, but you were diplomatic and articulate in what you were saying to them. And I'm talking about, it taught me, and then to top it off, you got me one of the best vehicles I ever drove. The $500 that I paid for the Volvo.
Oh,
you remember that? I love that Volvo. Oh, I loved that Volvo. I got so many miles and at least a few years from that Volvo. Anyway, I'm grateful that you reached out to me.
Sure.
So I'm happy I have the opportunity to say some words to you that because I really, the impact of you on my career and my personhood, because the military and the reserve component, sometimes it can be impersonal. And when you have those moments like that military, that time that we have mobilized or whatever, you were able to give me the benefit of some of your life skills as a lawyer, life skills, knowing paralegals, life skills. And I appreciate it. So, I can talk about it for hours.
Well, that's awesome. Here's how it really happened.
Yes, sir.
We were running around the track. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was after the what the hell are you doing, Matt? Story. Because people would be like, you would never say no. And I'm like, you're killing this kid. We were running around the track and I'm like, you got to have theory of work. I remember saying that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's say you are a person and you have a task, right? You got to move a dresser. You can't do it by yourself. So you ask someone to help you. You're responsible for moving that dresser. That person is just there to help you do something. And so you, as the person helping the guy moving the dresser, right, need to focus on making that easy, right? You want to be a great employee? Join the idea of what they want to do and get that done without them doing it, but also realize at the same time that like you're there just for that mission, you're for that thing, that task, and then don't tie yourself to them. Be like, I'm here to help you sort envelopes or do justice or whatever, and that's what we're gonna do, and I'm here to make it happen for you, sir. But I don't dream the same dream, right? I'm headed out the door as soon as that last hammer falls. I'm gone.
Wait, are you saying that they had me believing in their dream? Is that what you're saying that they were doing to me?
I wouldn't say that so much as that like you didn't have your own dream. You didn't realize, all you saw was the 50-meter target, to use Army jargon.
Yeah.
It's like whatever people asked you to do, you said yeah, because you were pleasing them rather than sharing like, you're like, why am I doing it? Like, I can only think of like a couple of names. There was like Rita, right? Yes.
Like
you've already thrown out more names than I can remember. Like Cranquist, Professor, Colonel Lind.
Mm-hmm. Who Colonel Lind was the successor to Colonel Corrigan.
No, he was his boss for a while, wasn't he?
Yes, he was boss for a little while, but Colonel Corrigan was a lieutenant colonel, and that's what that position called for. And Colonel Lind was a full-bird colonel, so Colonel Corrigan was like, "Look, I'm out of here. I'm not going to be second fiddle to anybody." So he finally ended up leaving, and Colonel Lind kept on. So that position has always been a lieutenant colonel.
Yeah. Did you extend?
Yes, I was there for a total of 2.5 years, and so I ended up being removed from the legal office because of do you remember Sergeant Sharp?
Oh, yeah.
Sergeant First Class Sharp. When he came with an active duty mindset.
Yeah.
But he was a very oppressive, and I say oppressive because he was going to be my first chief paralegal on an active duty mob situation. Because First Sergeant Chitwood was the chief paralegal, and then they asked him to be first sergeant. Just because you weren't around at that time. So
no, I remember Chitwood.
Yeah, and but I'm saying is Chitwood was the chief paralegal, meaning when we were going to Forest Park, before we were even thinking about being mob, he was my chief paralegal. And I remember he was telling me, he was advising me and caring about me like a big brother or father figure in the military, like teaching me, Matt, he said, I can help. We need to sit down and plan your life out. Because he saw what you saw, that I was just this, yes, sir, no problem. Yes, ma'am, no problem. Yes, I'll do. Yes, of course, sir. He saw that. And so then he tasked him to be first sergeant. we became mobilized. So I had 2 chief paralegals. And so Sharp comes, and I made one of the biggest mistakes. All of the work that we did on the shared drive,
Yeah.
I did something and deleted everything.
Yeah. I remember being told about that.
Yes. So Rita was mad. Sharp was mad. And there was a lady that was working with Sharp. I forgot her name. She was a successor to you and the lady Todd. No, not Major Todd. Who was the female that worked with you and me? She was thin. She was a runner.
More.
Jennifer Moore. Oh God, Jennifer Moore. And then she had a successor, Greta Gretzky, whoever came after. Yeah. Anyway, the point is that doing military justice with you both, you both were different from a lot of the lawyers. Not a lot of lawyers. I've had some good lawyers, but you guys cared about me like a human being. You know what I'm saying? You guys made sure I went to go eat. You guys made sure Captain, my best run time was running with Captain Moore. And I remember she got screwed over for some reason, if I remember correctly, in that process too.
Oh my God. She didn't want to mobilize. She ended up getting mobilized, and then she got pregnant, and then Billick wanted her investigated because she thought she got pregnant on purpose. And I'm like, yeah, I think so, generally. And,
doing the deed just because you don't have any significant other.
I'm like, well, yeah, she did it on purpose. He's like, no, I mean, like, to get out of duty. I'm like, it doesn't really matter.
Everybody's civilians. This is not.
You're allowed to go do that.
Is it in the regulation? Is it in the regulation?
Yeah, he took it. I forgot. I don't know what he did, but somehow that was like the formal thing was like, I think he said she was faking, and she was like livid, and then I think he said something like, I think she did it on purpose, and she's like, fuck you, etc.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's what makes all this military stuff interesting because you're now. You're now in legal command, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, to me, is probably one of the worst organizations that the military has ever created.
You know what? So I got there. I've only been there since September.
Okay, September of 2020. September 2020.
And they've been amazing. And I, like everyone, shared that opinion. I'm like, you rat bastards, you don't do anything. Slow stuff down and screw with stuff. I got there. They've been nothing but professional. They've been a great crew. And so now I tell everybody I run into at Legal Command, you need to tell people what you do, why you do it. You have to build your brand, right?
Yeah.
As a brand himself, right? You know what it takes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there is none of that. You guys are literally just sitting there looking up, worried that USARC's like not getting some RFI.
As a matter of fact, every couple of years they got to re-justify.
Step out of the shadow, run the risk of not being part of USARC, and say, we're Legal Command. Our job is to take care of lawyers. Fuck USARC. Who cares what they think of us? They're going to kill us if they're going to kill us. If they're not going to kill us, go do it. Just step up and be something, right? If your job is just to coordinate USARC's RFIs, request for information for those people that know, RFIs, then you will not exist. You need to have your own vision of what Legal Command does, right? Again, it's a vision thing. So Legal Command then, I've been pushing this. One of the things I've been pushing right now is we run these large exercises called TIFREXs, Total Force Readiness Exercises, right? 4 times a year. They put between 300 and 500 lawyers in the woods, and they basically put them through a command post exercise where they answer legal questions.
So that's a little bit like that, like the Sergeant Major Becker back in the day, the thing that they did with the paralegals every year.
Yeah.
It was similar to that.
similar to that, but they run it on a larger scale. But they've made it complex, so they're now Op4.
Oh, wait a minute. This is Is it multi per compo?
It's
or multi-unit.
Multi-unit. There's like about 9 LODs. That's a legal organization that'll be involved. There's a HAL cell that runs everything. There's an Op4, and it's scripted to be a multi-domain operation and against a near-peer threat.
These are all lawyers. No, this is not. This is all lawyers.
Because lawyers don't go to NTC or JRTC as a unit.
Right.
We run this, Bliss, Dix, but it only started in 2017. So in 2017, we ran the first one in the winter. 2018, we ran the very first actual tip for X. In 2019, we ran the very first Ready Justice big exercise.
I've heard of Ready Justice.
We've run 5 or 6 since then. And I'm like, these are great, but they just test our military essential tasks, our medals, right? Off the medal list. What they need to do is lean forward and say, this needs to be like a legal laboratory, and say, hey, these are, we're going to try things we've never done, right? We're going to try new organizations. We're going to test things in a world that's changing enormously fast. We need to be better than just simply, do you kill the prisoners? Do you bomb the church? Anyone can answer those questions, right? No.
Right.
And you need to be asked about, who's accountable if the AI goes off the reservation? Who's accountable? And what happens if we need to launch a cyber strike against a dual-use target cryptocurrency? And it's going to affect a third-party nation. We're not ready to answer those questions legally in an operational sense, and we need to be at least have thought about them.
Right.
Normally in academia, what you get is somebody writes a paper, a think paper, and then eventually over time, somebody writes a counter paper. It's the thesis, antithesis, comes up with a synthesis, right? Slowly things move forward. Oh my God, that's way too slow. This is the age of acceleration. You need to get that shit done. If somebody in the Ranger Battalion or somebody at, First Cav gets a new piece of equipment, what do? They run out in the woods and they break it. They get it muddy. They try and fix it. We're standing around with gunpowder rules from 1850.
Wow. Come on now.
We need to have,
Come on now.
We need to have some real rules, right?
Yes.
Some modern rules. We need to think about cyber warfare. We need to think about everyone's building drones, ground, undersea, in the air. What are the rules on that? Are there rules? Who's responsible? How do I hold them responsible?
And I don't do, and with the Geneva Conventions or whatever that agreement was, it didn't cover drones, or was it for? It didn't even think about drones at all, right?
That's what everybody's running. You can't apply these old laws from 1947 to current operations. And the big thing is the Russians, right, who are the big proponents of MDO. The idea of cyber and most information operations is to be below kinetic, to do things to piss the other guy off, but not get into a fight. And I don't want you to launch the email that starts the war, but I do want you to launch an email that pisses everybody off, right? Attack the will, right?
Yes.
And so that's where your commander, your COCOM commander is going to go, hey, they just ransomwared the hospital in our allies' capital. Can we attack? I don't know. No one knows, but we should ask.
Right.
And so that's what
and it makes it so that everybody's aware of little stuff like that too.
Right. I don't care what the answer is. I don't care, but I want to run the experiment. And I think that's like what legal command should be doing. You should be able to go there and get answers. Right now, all they do is fucking cut orders. And I don't even think they do that well, right?
Yeah, it's rough.
And it should be 100% transparent. Like you should be able to see where the application is, where the orders are, what is. It should be also a repository, a giant Alexandria library of legal thought right there. All of it. I don't care where it is, pull it together.
Yes. Because what's that? What's the is it called Mill Suite? What's the thing?
Facebook for military.
Yeah, Facebook. Right. Is that working good? I mean, at all or
not really? I mean, you you can't search Facebook for real stuff.
Right.
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 I need an answer. In order to get an answer to a specific problem, I need something like Westlaw. That means somebody has to set out an outline and I have to fill in where the stuff is. You need a curator, somebody who's going to, you can't just wiki it into existence.
Mm-hmm.
So
in other words, you're and now that you're part of Legal Command, because you and I have always been part of regular units and
I'm always
and you're right, and that embedded in the unit. And so I'm happy for you that you're in a scenario with Legal Command where it was working out good. I won't do it on this call, but I'm putting some stuff together so that I can share with you and other people what happened in my time of Legal Command, because I do you know that while we were mobilized up at Fort McCoy, do you know that I got an ID card? This is 2005, okay? Yeah. 2005, I re-enlisted. And do you know when my ETS date was? 2036. So I was prepared to be in until 2036. And because of my last assignment was with Major Marumba, which I believe he's a lieutenant colonel now, right?
Sure. If not a colonel.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be lieutenant colonel. It could not have happened that fast. He would maybe full bird colonel.
Yeah, I know ID.
Yes, ID. And so that was my last assignment as a master sergeant, and then I started to get ready into the world of being a warrant officer candidate. I got accepted. But then I was on an assignment until as a master sergeant. So then I wore the dot, or not the dot, but I wore the WOC, the WOC, whatever, for the remainder of my assignment. And then I started with Legal Command, and I was getting ready to start it, but it just I had my 20-year letter by that time, and I could not help but let the people in charge know you're screwing up. And I realized that when you got your 20-year letter, you got really one time to say it, just to speak your piece. And I spoke my piece. I made it good, and I'm retired now. it was worth it.
I hear you. No, I get my 20-year letter September of next year.
Yes. Yeah. So that means you hit 20 already.
For your fans.
Yes.
What was my initial date of rank?
Your initial date of rank you talk about a rank for which one?
In the Army. When did I officially join the Army? Because the Army, of course, lost my paperwork. Right.
How?
So I was drilling and they lost my oath of office. So I had to have it. They had to fax it back in. This is the era of faxing. So my initial date of rank, I always thought was interesting, was September 10th, 2001. Right.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Was that okay? Did you join the military right before 9/11 or right after 9/11?
No, like the summer before.
Gotcha.
We were, I was like, this is a blast, right? We're talking about going to Germany. That's
right.
And they're like, hey, Lieutenant, your paperwork's jacked up. You got to send us your thing. Got to swear in a new oath. Okay, cool. Did that. Now Colonel Brophy, right? Swore me in.
Yeah.
I'm like, the next day they're like, hey, get over here. I think we're at war.
So in other words, you do your oath, and then the next day, 9/11 happens.
Next day.
What does that feel like? Because I don't. How old were you when in 2001 when you went in? When you decided to enlist?
28.
You were 28 years. So okay, now listen. I went in the military when I was 17. So I don't. Less than 2% of Americans go into the military. Yeah. So my entire adult life even though I was a reservist, I've always been a part of this community that understands, IDT, TPU, you know what I'm saying, the USR, all that, whatever.
Speak Army.
Speak Army. So what was it like to transition, sir, from teenage to adulthood? And then, listen, you made it past 26 is when your cranium finally hardens. You're a real human being. You're solid. You're smart as ever you're going to be.
Grown ass man.
Exactly. So what is it like to make that decision at 28 and, your 20s, that transition? That's got to be interesting.
Well, the physical bit wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It was every now and then you reflect and go, all this stuff that's clearly meant to be like significant emotional experience is supposed to be like, the boot campy vibe, right? You're like, that's not really working, gang. I know.
Is it because it's really meant for young people?
You're like, if you're 17, you're like, you're not seeing through it. But if you're 26, you're like, okay, dudes, we're supposed to pull together. Somebody's supposed to be in charge. You're supposed to be doing this. If we do that, we will still fail, but you'll be failing in a good way. You're going to fail because that's how this works. You fail. But we won't look like assholes. Let's try and pull it together. We had a lot of advantages, and you're still pretty strong at 26, right? I mean, 27, 28. You're very strong. You can do all the physical stuff. You can take the sleep deprivation, you can take the hunger, you can take all that. You like bring it.
You've kind of been doing that before, maybe if you've been partying and whatever.
Yeah. So it was good. And I'm like, hey, they pay better than the other job I got, so this is pretty cool. Get to do stuff I never got to do. I'm thankful for it, Yeah. It cost me a bunch of other stuff, but I did. It's got me the job I have today. It has a lot of other great benefits. I'm super thankful for it. A bunch of times people have asked me to go full time, go active. Honestly, I think that's very limiting. Then you are in it all the time, and I think it really does. If I could change the Army, I had a magic wand. One of the things I would make people do is one, if you get to a rank, you don't have to be promoted. You can go lateral. There's a bunch of great captains who should not be majors, a bunch of great majors who should not be colonels. What you would do is then say, I would like to take a different track. I want to be an academic, or I want to be a physical fitness instructor, and I'm going to accept that. Right. I'm going to do that. Be it like in IT. There's a lot of people who are great at it and who would be great at greater responsibility. But leadership is not.
It shouldn't be mandatory. It shouldn't be mandatory for
leadership is hard. And very few people have both the constitution, the talent, and actual ability to lead. I mean, I think of all the retarded lieutenant colonels you've met, and then the number that are good. You're like, wow, is that like a 10-to-1 ratio? Why is that, right? And it's clearly not professional military education. It's something else, right? It's because these people feel they have to go to the next level. There is no other alternative. They were told a long time that if you didn't promote, you're out. So people who are willing to do the sacrifice, whether they were talented or not, got it. So you get your billet, right? You're like, that guy shouldn't be in charge of like a parking lot, right? Not a good leader. And we've had legendary meetings with that guy over.
Oh, I know. I remember sitting in a meeting. Oh my God, I remember sitting in a meeting. And he came back from some conference, and the book was thick that he had, and he was just going to kind of go through the whole presentation or whatever. And the one lawyer that did the stuff to you, he right. You keep saying his name, and I was trying not to, but I remember he interrupted. He interrupted. He was like, "Sir, I've got a case that's really hot or something, whatever.
I'm like, dude, you're not going to read all this. You realize how many man hours you're wasting here reading this? And then we went into like, there was another one where, I just remember Harmon saying like, "Oh, sir, that's wrong as two boys fucking." And we were laughing so hard that he had said that we were like flipping the table, right? We're like, I know it's not correct, but it was very funny at the time.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And then we went into that discussion of like, I'm like, sir, your job is to make sure my phone works and I have a chair and a place to work. Like, that's your job.
Right. He was trying to educate, or what was he trying to do? What do you feel he was trying to do?
I don't remember, but he's like, does your phone not work? And go, it's a metaphor. And it's just a mess. Like, but he's not the only one, right? I mean,
right.
You run into a succession of just like, whoa, worthless leaders. And it gets exhausting. You know, you're like, I could put up with that for a while, but after a while, I don't want to do it anymore, right? And I know I often like punch above my weight. I'd like to probably respectively, like, but that's mainly because you know, I like the job and I'm willing to risk.
Yeah.
When it comes to it. And also, you know, I'm satisfied with my career, right?
Mm-hmm. Does the risk pay off on the military side of the house when you punch up, when you would make your suggestions?
Yeah.
What's the ratio of the payoff? In other words, 50% of the time it goes well, 80% of the time it goes well, or, you know.
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you that you can't just suggest something and change anything.
Right.
The suggestion box doesn't work.
No.
What you have to have is trust, right? And then realize you're changing a culture and then change a way of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
So if they respect you for doing the hard thing, getting it done, whatever it is, and then you say, hey, sir, I like where your head's at on this thing. We could probably fix this if we just do this one thing, but it's going to require you to push down this. I'll make it easy for you. I drafted the memo.
Yes.
I could set up a meeting. I can make it happen. We'll do it tomorrow. And from then on, it'll be going. And be willing to take the heat. You know, like, sir, you just saw a problem. I'll fix it and people will hate me.
That's good. That's good.
Like, okay, cool. That's, you know, like, all right.
I love that approach. You've really honed that too. I mean, the way you just said it, it makes me want to just implement whatever you want to say now.
Lucky, there's a great War College video on culture, but generally culture is more important in any organization than the equipment you have, even the people. It's the Jordan effect. The culture of, you know, the 90s Bulls is they win, right? They do what it takes to win. They set up a dynasty, the Lakers, you know, whatever it is. And that culture means that people will do more, play more, be better than they ever thought they could be because of the culture. And so, you know, you get good people, but institute a good culture. And
institute a good culture.
Yeah. You want a good organization, build the culture. A lot of organizational culture is 85% of it. Then it's good people. And then, you know, it's nice to have tools and chairs and stuff that works.
Right, of course. What would you say? Go ahead. Good people and what?
Good people and good culture will get you past that stuff. They'll find stuff. You'll be like, shit, I didn't know you had a phone. That's awesome.
What would you say? Okay, every 5 years, according to the rule books, every 5 years, every organization is supposed to do a manpower study. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think it's also every 5 years, USARC has to certify the numbers of how many people are in the ranks, so to speak, right?
Sure.
And some people equate a manpower study with a reduction in force. I don't equate it that way. Sometimes it lines up that way, but I believe that a manpower study to me helps an organization understand what it's doing. Mm-hmm. And like you said at the beginning of our discussion, understanding the changes that it needs to make or whatever. So the question I got for you is, looking at how the past 20 years have been for you, and you're almost at the 20-year letter mark, mm-hmm. What do the next 5 or 10 years in the Army, because I think you're still in the Army, right?
Yeah.
And what rank have you achieved so far? Are you at Lieutenant Colonel?
No. I'm just a major.
Just a major. Hey, you know what? Major. Look, you should have been a major a long time ago. So they're slacking off. Okay, they're slacking off. Anyway, so you as a major, you've seen a lot, you've mm-hmm. learned a lot, and you've got. To me, I think you got the best perspective, because I think the citizen soldier, or citizen warrior, as they try to call us later in life, but your perspective, you're removed from it X amount of days of the month. Mm-hmm. So when you go back in, you come in with fresh eyes on a regular basis. So where do you foresee the Army 5-10 years from now? What do you think?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, because I think about this a lot. So I have to say up front, I don't represent the United States Army. My views are my own. There's like what I think we should do and what I think will really happen.
Okay, yeah, both of them. That's good. That's good.
On the one, what we should do, honestly, it's the Army is moving from the supported force to the supporting force. In the Pacific, we are just along for the ride. You don't want your Marines doing your legal work, right? The Air Force and then the Navy does not have lawyers the way we do at all. Like they do military justice and the rest of it is civilians. And so,
that's right.
Right. They don't know anything. Right. They're not going to make any decisions, whatever. But along that line, that mirrors the entire thing. The Army's moving from the supported force to the supporting force.
Right.
We're in an age of accelerated change, and what that means is that the technologies and tools and techniques that we use have second-order impacts we don't understand yet. We will never understand until they actually happen. Nobody really said, hey, the tank is going to be the big-ass thing in 1933, right? But tanks were a thing. And they're like, this wireless radio, I don't know. What's it really going to mean? You can't guess all the impacts, but you need to be aware that there are going to be impacts, right?
Right.
What the Army should do is reassess both what it does and why it does at a micro level, not a macro level. We still fight and win the land wars, but there aren't going to be that many land wars, God help us, right? And how we fight those wars is a little different. And then you get further down, it's even more different. I don't imagine a squad. So I don't know if you agree with me, but I don't think 20 years from now, you're going to have pilots in airplanes fighting wars.
They've been doing that drone stuff. It's so amazing. They're just sitting. I think they just fought.
You'll be court-martialed for sending a pilot. Why? You could have sent a drone.
Because didn't they just start getting, over the past 5 or 6 years, giving awards and medals to for
drone operators? Yes.
Right. That's a big deal.
Forget the drone operator. This is a loyal wingman, or the what's the other one? Skyborg are both essentially fully autonomous aircraft that fly alongside you or don't even need you, go out and do stuff, right? If I have a high value target, I need to hit it. I could send 3 drones or 1 manned aircraft. I'm going to get in trouble if that guy dies.
Yes.
What's the point of sending, if it takes 10 drones, I'm sending 10 drones.
Right.
Because I'll get it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get it with the dude because he's going to die. So anyway, the massive increase in autonomous systems means that in the near future, squads are,
the squad formation is not as relevant.
No, it's different and smaller. You're going to work in a, well, probably should be 15-person team.
Okay.
But you and your 15-person team are going to be 10 to 15 miles away from another 15-person team.
I got you.
If you make contact, you lose. You need to get out. Because if I can see you, find you, fight you, I will kill you. My long-range fires are not 40 kilometers. They're 140 kilometers. Mm-hmm. And my shoot loop is so short that you run into anything, right? They're going to tell back home, and they're just going to blow it up, whatever you were in.
Right.
So your job is to get out there, be a sensor, direct other long-range fires. You're not. It's it's going to be tough at the small level. So that means you got to have, mobility is key. You're going to have a whole bunch of Army segways or something to move around. You're going to need guys who can fix those things, right? You're going to need comms like nobody's business. Right now, the one RTO with a radio on his back is not going to cut it, dude. Right. I need that 6-wheeled satellite uplink that needs to work all the time, right? Mm-hmm. The Marines just implemented new SOPs where they have commands, Hawkeye, Red Eye, and something else, where if they see a drone, they have basically a battle action drill, right? They do it right away.
Yeah.
And for you, walking around in the woods in 15 years, you see a drone, you're like, freeze, everybody red eye. You pull out your camo. Meanwhile, you're on the radio, satellite going, we just saw a UAV. It saw us. What do you want us to do? Because we're going to run. We have 5 seconds. We're running. I think we're getting to the point, too, where we realize that major military operations don't make a big difference. The Russians have realized it too. Right. It didn't matter that Napoleon lost Waterloo. It mattered that nobody was willing to fight anymore except for Napoleon. Right. This is the thing about what the Russians are doing in Syria. They're committing war crimes. Right? They're bombing hospitals. They're going after aid stations. They're going after water plants. They're going after food trucks and convoys with aid supplies. Why? Those are war crimes, but they affect directly the will of the people to fight. You can't Douay, right? Ernest Douay or whatever his name was, the air power guy, bomb people into saying, gosh, I want to quit. But you can starve them into that. You can hurt them and make them not want to do it anymore. That's what happens. We like to think that there's a big battle that comes from Jamne, right? That there's a big battle, they lose, they recognize they lost, and they go home. If that were true, America would have lost every war. We lose every first battle. Why didn't we quit? Because they're not related. They do not affect. A does not affect B. So what you end up having is, wow, we pounded, if we actually get in a fight and we get a, 73 Easting and we kill a shitload of tanks, does it make a difference? I don't know. It depends, really. I don't know. Like in Azerbaijan, they in a week, the Azerbaijanis using Russian drones killed 47 Soviet, also Russian, tanks.
Okay, yeah.
How would that play out if that was an American unit? Right. If we'd lost 47 tanks, how many generals would have lost their job already?
Right.
Even if we won the war, right? Even if we just we rolled past that, be like, dude, what? We are risk averse, casualty averse. I originally was going to write an article called Bloodless, which was, in the new American way of war. But I was like, clearly we can't deal with that because the problem with social media and info ops is not that it's always existed. There's always been propaganda. There's always been pushed around.
Right.
It's that it goes directly at the will of the people who are governing the fight. And that's more terrifying. The Abu Ghraib, when I was in Iraq, right? Abu Ghraib had just finished. We were in the airport and people are gathered around the TV going, what are we looking at? And somebody's like, hey, we just lost the fucking war. Why? Because you can't regain the high ground, the moral high ground, the social high ground, right?
Are you referring to the scenario of
yes, the stack of humans?
Right.
The pyramid of dudes.
Because you went there after that was over. Did you walk through there or whatever?
Yeah. I went to Abu Ghraib.
Man, oh man, that was so powerful. When I heard about that you did that, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man. Somebody you would have liked, Marguerite Mogul. She's probably Lieutenant Colonel now, JAG Corps, but she was there at Abu Ghraib, and I had to go support her and the rest of the crew there. And so I'm working in the legal office, and there's a riot going on in one of the things. And I hadn't really thought about it, but Marguerite had gone with the field artillery company that was searching that particular compound. And so she comes back in, she's all sweaty, and she's all of 5 foot, right? Got her battle rattle on, and she takes her helmet off, punks it on the table. She's like, there's a fucking riot. And I'm like, yeah. And then the field artillery captain comes in, and she's a captain too. And he's like, Margaret, yeah. You can't fucking throw rocks back. And she's like, well, they were throwing them at me. He's like, no. So what happened was they were searching their cell, and they found out that Marguerite was out there, and she's a woman, and they flipped out, and they started throwing those big river rocks, right? So she picks up a rock and starts hauling them back. I'm like, that's not how this works. A lot of good adventures in Iraq. And then I took a job as a DA civilian, and I've been to Kuwait, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. In that job, got to go back to Afghanistan, got to go back to Iraq, came back and took a job with the Air Force. And then in March, of course, because my timing is awesome for everything. Right. I took a new job, and then COVID hit, and my first day was March 16th, which is like the day they closed the Pentagon. They're like, go fucking home. I'm like, why? They're like, disease. And so it's been pretty crazy since then.
Yes. So okay. You're not saying that you have been definitely working from home. They haven't let people start coming back, or
You can go back occasionally, but yeah, I'm working from home. It's 100% distributed anyway. The unit I work for now is a SWAT team of nerds that works directly for the SecDef, whoever he happens to be. And we do all kinds of problems. So you remember when Teddy Roosevelt got sick?
I think so.
Yeah. So the USS Teddy Roosevelt started getting sick, and they relieved the captain and all that.
Wait a minute. Oh. Right. That situation. Oh, snaps.
Yeah.
What was your involvement in that?
Our crew, I was involved in the team that developed mysymptoms.mil, so people could do that. It just showed up in the New England Journal of Medicine. They do work with the Joint Pathology Office, 55 million slides of veterans' tissue that they're digitizing. We're rebuilding the SIPRNet. Yeah, there's my logo.
Wow, look at that.
Defense Digital Service. Look us up. High speed.
Wait a minute. Do you have children? Is that a child of yours?
Yeah, that's a child.
Wow.
Oh, you want to come say hi?
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Wait, you want to see? You want to look back into the past?
Oh my goodness. Look at how you doing. Oh,
that's Matt.
Man.
You know who that is? Yeah. Frederick Douglas.
I'm doing great things. That's things. They're finding out about me.
They agitate.
Agitate.
Man, okay, are you, how, you look like, okay, let me guess, are you
Agitate.
is he 8 years old, 7 years old?
Agitate.
No, he's 4.
Wait a minute. Get him back up on your lap for a second. Hold up. You said he's 4?
How old are you?
You're 4 years old? Maybe the video just makes you,
He's
you're like
pretty big.
almost the size of your dad.
Agitate.
Wow.
Agitate.
So you, well, it's good to meet you. What kind of pajamas is that you have on? Is that an animal pajamas?
Oh, he doesn't have pajamas on.
Oh, okay, that's
The
a jacket.
clothes.
Yeah.
Well,
Right,
it's
but-
good to
yeah.
meet you. Good to meet
I'm
you.
wearing a sweater.
Yep.
You're wearing a sweater.
I do have to
So-
get back. The
Okay.
so where the Army should be is something like that. Different concept of operation based on equipment, the nature of the threat, and then we don't need divisions. Divisions are pointless. BCTs
Dang.
are probably too big.
Mm.
You need to focus on the battalion level. The battalion is the biggest thing you're going to push around, and it's going to have, like, you can go back to regiments and whatever. But anyway, you got to reorg the whole Army. You don't need nearly as many people. You need to rely on your reservists. Here's why. Reservists bring that MDO experience, right? You stovepipe a bunch of people on active duty. They're not really good at anything, especially if they're not in the elite, the Rangers. Like, I can send them do things because they have the right attitude, right? Same thing with SOF. I can get them to do whatever I need regardless, right? Because they have crazy money and they do stuff. But like just a regular bunch of Joes, right? That's not helping anybody. I don't really need a whole bunch of dudes.
You're out
right?
of here.
Yeah,
You
you're
become
not helping.
reservist and get a regular job too.
Well, that's
See
the
you
thing.
once a
Like,
month.
I'd be like, you know what? You can spend 5 years and you can spend your first enlistment, but then you have to go somewhere else and come back
Yeah.
because I want you to grow up. I want you to be a person and come back and bring something
person.
back, right?
That
You
is
spend your whole
really-
life in the military, you don't know anything.
Dang.
And so you got to go do stuff, experience stuff, and come back.
That's really good. Well, I'll put it like this. I'm grateful. The last question I'll ask you is, when I responded back to you about the thing
Oh,
that you wanted done.
Mine.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Hello.
That's Eva.
You remember me?
Wait a minute. Come down. Wait, get in the camera better because it's hard to see.
That's Matt Walker.
I know.
Oh, snaps. Wait a minute. You two got together?
Yeah. We's married.
Oh,
Here, wait. Augie and Sophia, come here. Say hi to Master Sergeant Walker.
oh my God. Oh, look
One
at
more.
these.
Come on in here. Show your face.
How old is she? Now she's how old? How old is the baby
He's
girl?
6 and he's 4.
My goodness.
Somebody get him on his back.
So wait a minute. So you guys, okay.
We met in the 91st.
No, I remember. Right. Wait. Recently, 91st or a long time ago, 91st?
No. I met Bill right after I
No,
came
you
out of
two.
home.
No, I'm sorry. You two met at not in the 91st.
Yeah, we did.
Right. And you say when you came. So that was, but because I remember you were in the process of getting married. Was that to her?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like the pieces are coming together.
It is coming together. That's how, and you're saying, ma'am, you remember me from
Arlington Heights. I remember you from Arlington
were
Heights.
we were in the 85th together, or
No, you were working with ID Maramba.
you
There you
got
go.
me. You got me. You got
Uh-huh.
me. Oh my God. Oh, that's right, because you guys would drill
Mm-hmm.
at that location.
So
Okay.
I was
no,
looking at his camera.
we weren't drilling at that time.
No.
But ID helped me assess in, and that's the assignment he was in with you at the time I was coming
Gotcha.
in.
You know what? I'm so happy. I'm happy. This is great news. Just listen. Okay, so listen. I'm working on my next album. This is my first full-length album after retirement, okay? Okay, and in this album, I'm gonna be talking about.
Pretty cool.
I'm gonna probably mention him by name because of the theory of work. And okay, you're gonna be a rap lyric. Okay. Do you remember?
Reiman, yeah, works out.
I'm gonna figure out. I'm a lyricist.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
working out. I'm working out.
It'll probably rhyme.
It'll probably rhyme, man. So what I'm looking forward to is like I want to stay in touch. I wanted to ask you, sir, did I have the right idea for the project that you wanted done?
Oh yeah.
Was I on the right track based on what we were talking about, based on our back and forth?
Yeah, I mean, all I'm thinking is, so I really like the lyrics of that tune.
That song, yeah.
That's, and I was like, and the melody, you know, I think if it were done in a like a chorus or a men's choral kind of vibe,
Okay.
or more of a hymn, it could be a real anthem. And so something like that would be fun to play every time the Op4 does stuff, right? As we recruit and get people. And I think it would be a tremendous legacy to say, hey, at the minimum, it would be a cool song. The Jag Corps doesn't have a cool song.
The Jag Corps does not have a
right?
The Jag Corps does not have a cool song. You're right.
Yeah, nobody goes Chairborne Ranger, right? I mean, but if you had one, how fun would that be at everybody's retirement, promotion? You got to sing the Jag song.
Okay.
Got to come from somewhere, John Philip Sousa.
You got me.
Yeah.
I'm commissioned. Do you know? See, that's what I'm talking about. It takes Phil Reiman, now a major, should have been a colonel by now, okay, to take me to my next level.
There you go.
Oh man!
And you don't need me. I mean, you can write a couple of Jag songs and see what happens.
I'm about to do that. I'm about to do that.
I'll bet you anything. There's one in there that's a good one that gets some legs. I know.
Yeah.
And I know. Did you know Vince Smith?
No, that name doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, he's retiring this summer, and I was like, it'd be great if we had our own Jag song, like put it in the program.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Listen, I'm so happy that you got me thinking on this level. So I'm about to work it out. I am so grateful to you for the time that you gave me.
You bet.
I'm happy for you. Got your family. I'm so proud of you. I admire this man. So I don't know how you gonna send me this video. I don't know how this works, but all I know is I'm looking so forward to looking.
I should be able. It could probably compress down. I could probably bust it up and then send it to you in chunks.
However you got to do it. Yep, that'll work, sir. You deserve a salute. I haven't given you one in years. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, man.
Phil Reiman, everybody. Major Phil Reiman.
I'll talk to you later, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yow.
Yow.
All right, say bye.
Good. Hey, you gotta grow some teeth. You gotta work on them teeth. You gotta. I gotta push them in there.
I got no teeth. I got no teeth. I got no teeth.
Don't worry, you're gonna get them. You're gonna get them. Did you get some money for them no teeth? That's what it's about.
You want it?
That's what
this bath.
I want to slice you.
No.
I want to slice you.
Easy.
What's this door?
All right. Matt, we'll talk to you later.
Download from m3dots.com. This is a free download from m3dots.com. I'm having a personal revival. Time to turn my mind back on God's mission for me. It's my personal revival. Time to turn my prayer life on. Gotta listen to me personal. slacking off, prayer like whack. When truth align situations that you cannot unscrew. Not a deathbed confession, but you need a resurrection in the spirit of you. But I'm talking about me. Not cause life is hard, but my heart is hardly circumcised when I deny the power thereof to my own demise. Mirror tell myself a lie, but when I quiet myself and listen to the spirit of the Lord, bring me correction and direction and instruction. He remind me I'm elected and protected when I'm tested. It's the season that I must bear fruit, must be the reason it's personal. Cause it's sharper than a double-edged intimate. Precision, soul, and spirit, and the road less traveled. It's just what it is. Few be that find the path to walk in. His perfect will is more than a metaphor of what he can pour out of the windows of heaven. He will defend those reverent, single-minded brethren and sisters that don't blister at serpents, bend or break, stagger or quake. Vigorously egg by load 11, it's poison. Ask Michael Bevins, a senator or Reverend Jackson. Sometimes it's hard to put the truth into action. A metric when my fruit's inspected. Don't need to be eclectic, need not be irreverent. Conviction, yes, it is a step in the kingdom priest direction. The weapons of our warfare, yes, they are different. I haven't lost count of the 1,011,000. I'm having a personal revival. On God's mission for me. It's my personal revival. Time to turn my prayer life on. God will listen to me. Personal, intimate,
reignite the power of my sonship. Personal, intimate, reignite the power of my sonship.
I forgive myself, forget those sins in my past. Press forward, do the at-hand task that is before me. Realize that the devil hates me, he can't ignore me, cause the kingdom shall advance. Train my hands, my spirit man, rules of engagement. So when it hits the pavement, the armor's on, binding loose with statements. Breastplate me, don't forsake me. The kingdom shall advance. Don't be scared, two blaze tails or blaze tails in the process. You may fail, but don't stalemate. There's another day to master details. And God, he will respond to your need mail. Regain the ground that we lost since upper root Pentecost, and I became my boss. Said life is off like can't get right, y'all. Soft puff Christians with sloth, two to the jaw.
You woke up early this morning.
What is more important than the king? You should search high and low, it's no ting. On your feet, everybody please sing. Time to look past all these earthly things. See what we bring and try to get in. On your feet, everybody please sing. The kingdom shall advance. 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 The kingdom shall advance.
Personal, intimate, reignite the power of my sonship. Personal, intimate, reignite the power of my
This
sonship.
is a free download from m3dots.com. Don't forget, m3dots.radio.